So guys, we're back. I feel like the one thing that I get asked at every clinic that I ever do is, can we do lead changes? So here it is. We're going to break it down. This is part one. We decided when we were talking about this that there's just too much involved. And I think that's kind of where we start with lead changes, is that typically there's this understanding that if I ask my horse 3 times to change leads through the middle and it chucks its head and runs off or swaps leads or doesn't get it right, or all the other myriad of things that can go wrong when you're doing lead changes, that somehow we give up or we get panicked or we just think that the horse doesn't do lead changes. And we're very comfortable running a horse 30 times up and down in a day and working on the stop. We're very comfortable turning around 30,000 times and working on the footwork. But I think the vast majority, and this is only my experience, get very uncomfortable when they come through the middle and they try to do a flying lead change and the horse doesn't do it and they get stuck. So what we're going to do today is we're going to break it down into the fundamental body parts and the things that I need out of this horse before I even get to doing lead changes. Because often I get to clinics or I get to training on a horse or training with someone, and the ability to control the horse's body is so far removed from being able to go through the middle and do a fancy flying lead change. So here we are today. We're going to get the beginning, the part one of how I set a horse up for lead changes. So this exercise that we've got for you today that helps me get started with the lead change really breaks down the horse into 3 parts. You know, I need to get the shoulders, I need to get the rib cage, and I need to get the hip. And I set these 2 cones out across center to make sure that I actually get the response from the horse that I need. You see, changing directions, changing leads in the middle isn't about just grabbing the horse and going the other way and praying, although that might help. Mostly, it's really about getting that horse in position. And so I'm going to start out two-handed, and the first piece that I need is to pick up this shoulder around this cone and get that shoulder away from my left leg and my left rein before opening up that left leg and traveling on the new direction. You see, I'm going to take this horse, walk it around here on this side. We have to go around that cone. We use the cone to give us a straight line through the middle. Here I'm going to pick up that right rein and right leg. Try not to kill that cone. And we got to get that shoulder here. I need the same rhythm. I need the same movement in that horse. Then I'm going to release that right leg and let that horse go to the right. Going to do the same thing at the jog. Get that horse really, really consistent through the middle. I need to be able to put pressure on it and ask it to move its body without it either shutting down on me or leaping in the air and going faster. The second piece we're going to have, we come through the middle. Now, I'm going to ask for a little more rib cage. You see, I got to get that horse's rib cage out of the way before I can set it down and let it go that new direction. You see, it's not just about coming through the middle and throwing the horse the other way. I'm going to come around on this circle exactly the same. Come around this cone. Keep your head up, pick up that right rein. See, now we need to get that rib cage all the way through, and I feel like she struggles a little more on this side, so I'm going to put a little more leg there. I'm going to push that horse's rib cage a little longer before I release it, you see. And it's important because when you come through the middle and pick that horse up a little bit, you have to lift it away from the change to get it really clean. It's got to change straight through the middle, you know, so you have to be able to come through the middle and lift that horse a little bit away from that change and straighten it out before you open up and say, cool, you can go the new direction, you see. Now the final piece that we're going to have to get on this horse is the hip. So once I'm able to pick up this horse's shoulders and her rib cage through the middle, once I can pick up here and push that horse over like this, then I'm going to keep my hands where they are and I'm going to reach back, and I need to actually push that hip into that lead change, and that's kind of your third piece. And you can see where she loses her rhythm there a little bit, gets a little tough on me. So I'm going to pick up the jog, and I'm going to ask this horse to do the same thing at the jog. I'm going to get its rib cage, push that rib cage really smooth. Then I'm going to open up my left leg and let that horse come around to the left. Jog around here. I'm going to start picking up that right rein. We're going to pick up that right rein, that right shoulder. My right leg goes on here. Push, 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 push. I'm going to keep working on that until that rhythm gets smooth and I can push that hip over at the end, you see? Come back around here. Pick up, pick up, pick up, push. Keep that rhythm, keep that rhythm. Now here, I'm going to push that hip over. You see, this horse almost wants to jog off on me or lope off on me because she knows how it works. So that's the 3 parts that we're going to work on with a horse to get it ready for the lead change. I need it to work through the middle with its body. I need to be able to pick it up, push it over, push it over, push it over, then push that hip up. You see there again, she kind of quit on me. So this horse might have the tendency to shut down a little bit when I come through the middle and ask for that left to right lead change. And none of that is a problem because this is an early 3-year-old that I kind of make those judgment calls on now. I know that that horse has a little bit more tendency, so I'm going to come around here again. I'm going to look ahead of myself. I'm going to ask for a little less there, and I'm going to push that horse up. There. You see there, it wanted to lope up into that right lead. So there it is, guys. Get those pieces. Push that horse through the middle. Keep your rhythm. Make sure that that horse really can use its body before you just go through the middle and think it's about running through center and changing leads, changing directions. So basically, to recap, we're going to break it down into 3 key points. These are 3 things that you need to have before you can move on to part 2. Number 1 being position. You have to get that horse in position. You have to get his body set up so that it becomes easy for him to do. You also have to have yourself in position. You know, if you run through the middle and fall to the other lead or think it's a change of direction, you're going to get yourself out of position. Number 1 is position. Number 2 is having the patience. You're not going to get it the first time. There are some people who are very athletic and can get a horse to change leads through the middle without any practice. There are people who can make these things happen and think they know how to do it, and it's just happened. There's also horses that are very athletic and can make it happen when you go through the middle and just do this. But it's very important to be patient because most horses, genuinely most horses, need to go through that first key point to be able to get this right. So be patient with the horse. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Point 3 is to persevere. You know, I mean, it's kind of the same as being patient, but it's not. Sometimes you don't have to be patient. Sometimes you got to get into that horse. Sometimes you got to push on something. Sometimes you really have to persevere with one of those parts to make sure that that horse really understands what you're trying to do. So don't do it 2 times and then give up. Really persevere on that. Cool, guys. I've had a lot of fun. I've had a great time with part 1. We've broken it down into small parts that I think are really usable. You're going to be able to break them down and put them into your horse and install those buttons. I'm excited to come back for part 2. It's going to be a lot of lope-in and counter-canter and which way to bend that horse this way and that way. I encourage you guys as well to comment. Tell me what's hard. Tell me what you like about the videos, what you don't like about the videos. Help me make them better. Help me answer your questions. Be involved. We like it.